3 years ago, I did a book called America's Sunset Coast, where we photographed the coastline from the Canadian border to the Mexican border. It was a project that took about a year. And so after talking things over with a couple of my friends, I said that what I wanted to do was to take a Volkswagen bus, just an empty tin can, and customize the inside so that the interior would be strictly designed for the purpose of doing photography. And I have found that the bus has been just a continuing delight for about 4 years now. It's such a self-contained unit. Since I live in San Francisco, I've found that the most convenient airport to my house is Knox Field in Marin County. It's about 20 miles to the north, and it's set between the coastal range of hills that run along the Pacific Ocean and the small little valley that borders San Francisco Bay. A couple of years ago, I became aware after reading some of the photography magazines that cameras were coming out with electronic controls in them. And that this was more than just sort of the latest wrinkle on a camera, that it made significant differences in not only in the operation of the camera, but ultimately in the kinds of pictures that you could shoot. For 90% of the pictures that you did, no one could tell whether the photographs were taken with a mechanical camera or with an electronic camera. But there were certain kinds of situations, namely shooting pictures at dawn or at dusk with very long exposures, or with remote control, in remote control situations where a camera was hung out in an inaccessible place, that by being able to preset the camera and have it calculate the exposure, it could make pictures that would heretofore have been unmakeable. I've done a lot of work for Flying Magazine, and one of the reasons is because I have a commercial pilot's license myself, and I'm a great believer in the value of little airplanes. And one of the things I wanted to show is that even the smallest Cessnas or Pipers are real traveling machines, and that they can be used at night. And the thing that was important was to somehow take the camera and mount it out on the wing of the airplane, looking back into the cockpit and having the lights of the city below streaked around it. The taking of the pictures is often the easiest part of the whole process. The most difficult work is in the setting up. The first step is just to figure out what the camera angle is going to be. I take the camera and I hold it vertically and I hold it horizontally, and I try a bunch of different lenses and I figure out exactly what the shot is. When I'm doing general shooting, usually I use it on manual, but in situations where the camera's being used in some kind of remote control mode, it's always on automatic. Then I usually take all the equipment that I have and spread it out all over the ramp. I found that the three principal pieces of gear, which seem to work very well depending on what kind of device the camera's being attached to. The three are the Bogen Super Clamp, radiator hose clamps, which you can buy in any Napa store, North American Auto Parts store, and a Leica, the heavy-duty miniature Leica tripod. The angle of the Leica tripod is positioned in such a way on the strut that I have sufficient flexibility with the ball joint in the head of the tripod so that I can position the camera exactly the way that I want the picture to be framed. And in this case, by skewing the tripod to the side slightly, I'm certain that everything is going to fit properly and that the picture is going to be lined up the way that I want it. And also that I can then put the bands around it, the radiator hose clamps around it, so that I hold it securely. And when you crank down those radiator hose clamps, they don't move at all. They're really secure. In the late 50s and early 60s, John Zimmerman did a set of pictures for Sports Illustrated where he first began to explore this. He put cameras in crazy places. But in that situation, he had to preset all the cameras and hope that none of the circumstances changed between the time he left the camera and the time the picture was made. Here, we have the great luxury of being able to preset everything and knowing that the camera's going to make all the final adjustments. two wires are coming off the airplane. One goes to the remote control tripping device, and the other one is a PC cord that connects the camera to a strobe inside the cockpit, because I want to illuminate the pilot. It's important to be able to see him. And then after everything is clamped down, I go over everything with gaffer tape exhaustively. Everything that can possibly move is gaffer tape down. Sometimes I'll take a piece of gaffer tape and make a little flag using the rewind lever on the top of the camera, so I can check it visually. I can see it turning around in the darkness a lot more easily using that little flag. And so I'm constantly checking all these details, especially as I get to the final point where I get in the airplane, kiss the whole thing goodbye, and assume that it's all going to work properly. I like airplanes. I like to fly them, and I like to look at them. There's something about operating in 3 dimensions that makes airplanes a continuing fascination for me. And I've been able to combine enough of a knowledge and a feeling for airplanes with photography that I'm at a point now where, fortunately, people will hire me to make photographs that will involve airplanes. San Francisco is the city where I live. It's a city I happen to love. You can't really start this photograph until the lights of the city begin to come on, because it's the city lights that are picking up, that are actually making the exposure. The city lights are shining off the airplane and also off the, you're seeing the reflected light off the ground. The camera continues to meter the light even after the shutter is open. And since in this case the shutter's staying open anywhere from 30 seconds to several minutes, it's reading all the light that's hitting the film in the course of the exposure, so that as the lights on the ground change and as the nature of the streaks change, the camera's continuing to meter the light. At the same time, it's also metering the light from the strobe that goes off inside the cockpit. To me, it's real exciting. I mean, there's a certain amount that's a challenge, and then there's another part that's just plain sheer discovery, and I think that's probably part of any creative process. You go in with a certain intention, and you give it your best shot, and then if you've done a really good job, it almost sort of takes off on you afterwards, and you get results that are even crazier than anything you could have forecast in the beginning. And the great thing is to click through a whole roll of slides, and they're remarkably similar and uncannily different, and that's what makes it fun.
And here are the results. The streaks behind Jim's plane change depending on what part of the city he was flying over. We've animated Jim's still photographs to show the incredible variety of patterns Jim was able to get on one roll of film.